Kelly Davis, your host of the Untold Miracles podcast, and today I am so honored to interview a former Children's Hospital patient turned country music artist star. In 2016, she was nominated by Hilary Scott as an Artist of Tomorrow by the Grammys. Bobby Bones selected her to his class of 2017. CMT selected her for their 2018 class of Next Women of Country, and last year, Billboard named her as one of the 15 country artists to watch. I'm a huge fan because she is as nice and humble as she is talented. Miss Bailey Bryan, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me. Thanks for that intro. I wasn't even ready for that. I was like, oh,
well, you are amazing, and I'm so excited to have you here. I love you. We are so grateful for your support of CMN Hospitals. We actually got to do a fun visit at Seattle Children's where you performed for the kids in the Child Life Room, and I think that was probably extra special to you because you were once a patient there, and I would love for you to tell us about your experience.
That was super special for me because that had been my first time being back at the Seattle Children's Hospital in a couple of years, but between the time that I was like 12 to 17, I spent a lot of time there because I was diagnosed with scoliosis when I was 12, and I had corrective surgery for it at the age of 16, and to this day, it's still something that really just shapes who I am. I feel like the more I talk about it, the more I see other people who have gone through similar things like scoliosis and the corrective surgery, but when I was going into it, it wasn't something that I really understood the weight of. I was just like, oh, my spine is shaped a little bit like an S. For anyone that doesn't know, that's what scoliosis is. I'm like, I'll just get like a little surgery to correct it. Like, no, it's a big undertaking, especially for a teenager. And I think one of the only things that made it, that kind of helped make it bearable as I was like navigating this whole process and realizing like what a big deal it is to have your spine not shaped how it's supposed to be, and then to have a surgery to try and put it back. One of the only things that helped that was just how amazing everybody at Seattle Children's was.
Tell me about the scar that you received from that surgery and about the song that was inspired from that.
Well, just another way that this surgery and experience touched my life. The surgery left me with a scar from the top of my neck to the middle of my back. So the whole top half of my back has one big line down the middle of it where they made the incision. And I didn't like it for a second after the surgery because the recovery process was really hard for me. It comes with came with a lot of physical changes and mental changes just from going through that. But kind of once I was coming out of it, I really fell in love with this scar because it represented the journey I went on with scoliosis and the journey that I still am on to kind of love and accept myself in like all different forms. And so when I want to say like 17, like a year after I got this surgery, kind of when I was starting to get perspective on the whole situation, I wrote a song called Scars, and the last line in the chorus is, "We wouldn't be who we are without our scars," and that kind of sums up what I learned from the whole experience.
Well, there's so many kids that are going through scary experiences at their local children's hospital. They may have their own scar that they're dealing with. What message of hope do you have for those kids being treated at a hospital, or anyone for that matter who is dealing with a scar that they have and they're really not quite sure how to process that?
What I want everybody to know, especially those little kids, is just that, one, everybody has scars, and a scar isn't necessarily something that you can see on the outside. Maybe it's lots of things you can see on the outside. Maybe it's something that only you know that you're going through on the inside. But everybody has them, and that's something that connects us. But our scars are also the things that make us extremely unique, which is what I think is so beautiful about these experiences and marks on our bodies and stuff like that. I think if you can learn to look at whatever you're going through, whatever is affecting you, as the thing that's making you so amazing, and not the thing that's going to break you or bring you down, then you can start to see these scars as a blessing. And it's not always easy. It doesn't mean that like, I love going through hard stuff. I love this hard thing in my life. Like, that's not what it means at all. Like, be sad, like, feel your feelings, but in doing that, you can grow. And I would say that, like, scars do heal, but you can continue to learn from them and grow from them for the rest of your life if you choose to see it that way.
Just a couple weeks ago, you actually performed the song Scars at Monroe Carrell Children's Hospital, Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
And you were in Seacrest Studios, and it was a live remote to our event for Children's Hospitals Week in Orlando. And Bailey, I wish that you could have been in the room. There were 1,500 people in the ballroom, and you could have heard a pin drop. I had the biggest chills. It was the most unbelievable performance where you were with all of these cute little patients from the hospital sharing your story. Tell me what that moment was like to be in Seacrest Studios at the hospital.
Well, I had chills too, just to be surrounded by these kids who are patients at the hospital who I just feel such a connection to. Some of them I recognize from, meeting you guys at different events. And so to have some of them, like, know the words and, like, just to bring joy into that room with a song that's so personal to me was, like, so special, because there's no way for me to not connect music to that experience.
Mm. Well, speaking of those kids, I just talked to Jessica Meyer, and she is, as you know, a brain cancer survivor, and she had a question that she wanted me to ask you on the podcast. She wants to know when you first started dreaming of being a singer and writing songs. And she said, I heard that you're from Washington, and then you moved to Nashville. What has been the biggest difference between living in the two places?
It's really hard for me to pinpoint when I first started dreaming about being a singer, songwriter, performer, all of that. Like, I really can't think of a time in my life when I didn't want to do music. So it's really always been in me, and I was really lucky to have a super supportive family that just let me do it. They were just like, how can we help? Like, how, you seem passionate about this, and you're better at it than, like, math. So we're going to try and, like, help foster this passion in you. Because a lot of other things were kind of a struggle. But segue into her next question. When I was 17, I moved to Nashville with my family, and I've been traveling here to write songs for a couple years at that point. Yeah. I'd signed my first publishing deal already, and my family moved with me for like 6 months, got me settled since I was still 17. And I got like a good team around me, and I got comfortable, and they're Washington people. And so they went back, and I was 18. So, like, it was cool. Man, it was a huge adjustment. Nashville and Washington are, like, very different places. The one thing that I will say is kind of similar, like, Nashville and Seattle are just both, like, cool cities. They're very different. One is southern and one is, like, very not southern, but everybody's really nice. I think it was just kind of adjusting to kind of a different culture in the South. Like, I thought, like, I was like, oh yeah, country music's, like, a part of my life. Like, I grew up in a small town. Like, I get it. But then you come to Nashville and you come to Tennessee, and you're like, oh, this is country. I was like, oh man, am I cut out for this? I'm like, I don't even know. Now I feel like I'm like a rapper walking in here because everyone's, like, quoting Dolly Parton all the time. It's amazing. But it was an adjustment for sure.
Well, Jessica wanted me to make sure that I told you that she loves you, she loves your music, she thinks you're awesome, and she feels very grateful that she gets to be friends and know and look up to you.
She's amazing. Her and I have been trying to, like, plan a taco date or something. We need to. She's incredible. She's just such a testament. All these kids are such a testament to just the beauty that can come from such hard, terrible things.
She's truly a miracle, and I want to know what the biggest miracle in your life has been.
I think my life has been so full of miracles. There have been so many. The miracles in my life, I think, have been from God kind of blocking me from fear in the moments when, like, when I needed to just take a leap of faith. I think a miracle was when my whole family decided to move to Nashville, and we talked about it, prayed about it for a long time. And the way that we made that decision was my parents were like, okay, listen, we're not sure about this. We're just going to put our house on the market. We're not going to tell anybody that we're moving. We're not sure that we are. We're just going to put our house on the market quietly, like, on this website. like super low key, not going to put a sign in the yard. And that was how we started that process. And within 24 hours, we got a full price offer on our house.
Wow.
Like, those are the kind of like miracle pushes that I feel like God just shows up with in my life as soon as I need it. So that's the first one that comes to mind.
God stopping the fear for you to step into the unknown. I think that's like one of the coolest definitions of a miracle I've ever heard.
Yeah, to me, that's kind of what I think. Just when I think of how it applies to my life, especially knowing myself and the ways that I can let fear and doubt and anxiety affect me on a day-to-day basis. The leaps of faith that he's given me and my family the ability to make in life is it's a miracle to me.
Well, I love that. Well, I have a couple of quick fire questions for you now.
Please do.
I want to know the favorite place you've ever performed.
The Gorge Amphitheater in Washington. That's like I've been dreaming about playing there since I was little, because I heard about it. It's a few hours from where I grew up, and it's like in eastern Washington, and it's just the most beautiful like canyon valley amphitheater, and there's a festival there every year called Watershed, and I got to play the main stage there, and that I will never forget that. That was last summer.
Who would you love to do a duet with?
Oh my goodness. Well, there's a bunch. I would say the top of my list right now would be Post Malone.
Yeah. How can you not love Post? I'm kind of obsessed with him, just so you know.
I am too.
I literally repeat his songs like over and over and over and over and over.
Oh my gosh, that makes me love you even more. He's my absolute favorite. His production, the way that he has his own kind of version of like genre blending. It's just so inspiring to me. Hands down, Post Malone for sure.
Just curious, what is your favorite Post song? Mine's Better Now.
So I've been covering Better Now in my live set. In my show in New York, I literally played that song.
I saw that the other night.
That might be my favorite. I think that's my favorite right now for sure. He's got one song at the very end of not his most recent album, but the one before, Stoney. The very last song is called Feeling Whitney, and it's like a guitar ballad. If you haven't listened to it, you have to hear it, because it's like, it just blows me. It tears me up every single time.
Oh, I'm excited to listen to that. Okay, your favorite food?
Oh, Thai food for sure. Pad Thai.
Favorite city in the U.S.?
That's so hard. That's really hard that I've traveled to. So we're talking travel, so I'm ruling out my hometown or like Seattle, even though that's my favorite. I have to say that. I love New York. I love New York City. It was so fun being there this last weekend. Like, just the vibe is so cool.
Well, I really definitely feel like it's very fitting for you, knowing you and just knowing like who you are and how just authentic and real and open. Like, it just fits, I think, with your personality. Yeah,
I definitely don't feel like I'm super cool when I'm in New York. Like, Nashville, I'm pretty cool. Like, I can hang, but then I get to New York and I'm like, everybody here is cooler than me. And it's kind of nice. I'm like, well, that takes the pressure off, because I don't have a chance of being the coolest person in the room anyways. Like, people here are just like doing what they want, and it's dope.
I love it. Okay, what's the best advice you've ever learned from your mom?
My mom, I think one of the biggest things that my mom instilled in me is just, there's never a bad time to be kind to people, which is, it's really simple. But I literally just grew up my whole life watching her like go out of her way, whether it's just to it's like, you know, like pay for someone's groceries in the checkout line behind you, or like literally one time in the apartment that we lived in, when we first moved to Nashville before they went back to Washington, my mom and I like pulled up to the gate of this apartment complex, and she saw that this man was like having trouble with his car. Like he just needed to like push it over a little bit into the parking spot so we could see what was up with it. And she literally stopped our car right there in the entrance of the apartment complex, got out and helped this dude push his car like up this hill into a parking spot. Like, she was just like, why not? Like, he needs help, I can do it. Or just like saying kind words to people. Like, she's like, why? Like, if you see somebody and you think that they're beautiful, you think of a compliment for them, like, just say it. Like, she's like, you're never going to regret that. Like, it's so dumb to like get self-conscious about doing or saying something nice. Like, I always watched her my whole life just not be shy about any of that. And that's the best lesson/advice that she showed and taught me.
I love that. Knowing your mom, I can totally see her going out and pushing that car up the road.
Yeah, I know. She's also like super fit. So that also helps.
I want to know your biggest fear.
Ooh, I'm going to get a little psychological because have you taken the Enneagram test?
Is that like the number to personality? Or like it's a,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm familiar, but I've never taken it.
It's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 thing.
Okay.
So I'm a type 4, which is the individualist. And like, I read this and I was like, oh man, this is me to a T. Like, it tells you how you are at your best, your worst, your tendencies. And one of the things it says is like your essential fear, basically. And I read this and I was like, oh man, that puts it into words really well. It said that my essential fear in life is to not have purpose, which like as an individualist, I have a tendency to always want to like have like a clear path for myself that's like set apart. That's like, okay, this is what I do. This is my purpose and my value. So I tend to put my purpose and my value into music, my friends, my faith. And I have a fear of losing any of that, if that makes any sense. I always want to feel like I have direction. And if I don't, I start to like spiral, but that's actually a part of life. So that's something that I'm working on.
Okay. Well, so what's your biggest daily challenge?
I think my biggest daily challenge is overcoming anxiety every single day. For me, it's little things, just like having the motivation to like not overthink like simple tasks and conversations, just waking up and thinking about the things that I have to do in the day and not being overwhelmed by it, but instead like being excited because I love everything I get to do in the day. I'm so blessed to get to do what I love for a living. But anxiety kind of doesn't care if you love what you do. It's like, I'm still going to find a way to like make you overthink this, whether it's worrying what other people think or worrying that you're going to do something wrong to the point where like you just don't get it done. That's kind of how it manifests itself for me. And I've been working really hard on just waking up every day and like making my coffee and opening my Bible and like being thankful for all the things that I get to do instead of being overwhelmed by them.
What's your most embarrassing moment of all time?
I mean, I do a lot of embarrassing stuff. I'm always like hitting my head on things or like accidentally elbowing people. Like that's what a lot of my embarrassing moments are related to. And the most embarrassing part of it is probably how often I do it so that like I'm not even fazed. Like I was like sitting on a couch in the green room the other night with a couple of my bandmates and like I got on the couch and I hit my head on the wall like so hard, like really hard. Like it made a loud sound and everyone was like, wait, Bailey, are you okay? Do you need ice? Are you okay? And I literally just like,
this is normal.
I was like, fine. And I was like, this is bad that this didn't even faze me. Cause like I heard the noise and everyone's very concerned. And I'm just like, should I act like it hurts more so that I seem like a normal person? One thing I'll never forget kind of along those lines was like it was like my high school talent show, I think my junior year. And I was like very excited for this talent show. I was covering Titanium by Sia on the guitar. I had like a very sparkly shirt on and like some high heels, which was a very big deal for me in high school. And it kind of still is. And I like curled my hair way too much. And I was just like, man, like I'm so fly right now. Like I'm going to go up here and crush this Sia song. And I walk up on stage and literally I go to take the mic off of the stand and like, I was having trouble getting it off of there. So it was like I was having to like pull really hard to get it off. And so I'm pulling. Finally it comes out. It comes loose. And I literally just like knock myself in the tooth with this microphone. Like,
oh no,
so hard. The squeak and the sound like fills the auditorium. And that was how I started my junior year talent show.
Do you have that on video?
So actually, I think it's on YouTube somewhere. I really need to find it. It's gotta be.
Speaking of YouTube, you were with them getting a tattoo yesterday.
Yeah.
What was the tattoo?
Isn't that crazy?
It's so crazy.
So it's a sunflower, and it's like the biggest, like most shaded, like detailed tattoo that I've gotten. Because before that, I just had like a Bible verse and a little bird on my finger. But right next to the verse, like on my inner arm, on my right arm, it's a sunflower. It's like 5 inches tall, and I got it kind of just because, like, my mom and I love sunflowers. That's, like, the only reason. I was like, if I want a flower, and, like, this is a flower that means something to me because it makes me think of my mom. And her middle name is My Own Sunshine. Not a lot of people know that, because why would a lot of people know my mom's middle name? But so it's my middle name is My Own. Hers is My Own Sunshine.
Oh, wow.
So sunshine, sunflowers. Sunflowers are always, like, facing the light, which I think is dope. I'm like, I should be like sunflower and face the light, probably.
So there's no tie to Post Malone's Sunflower song?
I love that song. That's definitely, like, that's an added reason to get the tattoo 100%. The funny thing, though, is that, like, I didn't really even know that I was going to get this tattoo until the day of. Like, I knew I was going to get a tattoo, but it was taking a long time. So we filmed it at the YouTube Space, which is not a tattoo parlor. They've never had somebody get a tattoo there for a video or anything. So we weren't even sure that we were going to be able to make it happen until, like, the day of. We had to get, like, a medic on site. We obviously had to get a tattoo artist who was willing to come give me a tattoo. And I was like, all right, hope this turns out good.
Right now, Bailey, you are on tour, and you are going to be performing with Lanco, who just won New Group of the Year, right? At the ACMs?
Yeah.
So tell us,
so cool?
That's amazing. They're so incredible. I saw them perform in Nashville at the New Artist Showcase at CRS, and they killed it. Like, their energy is amazing.
They're amazing.
Tell me where we can see you.
Oh, man. Well, you can see me all over the UK. I'm going to have shows in London, Glasgow, Scotland, which will be cool. That'll be my first time in Scotland.
It's amazing. You're going to love it.
I'm so excited. I've heard amazing things about these guys. I've never met any of them, but every time I tell people I'm going out with Lanco, they're like, oh, my gosh, like, best dudes. So I'm excited and happy about that.
So people can go to your website, correct? And they can go to Bailey Bryan, and it's BaileyBryan.com, and they can see where you're performing in the U.S. They can follow you on your social channels, which is on Instagram and Facebook. What is that?
So Instagram and Twitter, my handle is Bailey My Own, BaileyMyOwn. And then YouTube, just look up Bailey Bryan or Bailey Bryan Music. Facebook is Bailey Bryan Music. But if you look up Bailey Bryan anywhere, I'll probably come up. There's not a lot of other Bailey Bryans. I feel like the only other Baileys that I meet ever are they're either dudes or they're dogs. So I'm the one that's not a dude or a dog, if you look up my name.
Do you have any new music coming out, or what can we look forward to?
I'm working on an EP right now. So my last EP was like 2 years ago, but I just put out a new song called Perspective. It's only been out for like a month.
So good. So good.
That's kind of what I'm focusing on right now, just trying to get like as many people to listen to that as possible. So everybody, please go listen to it. That would help my life. But we're trying to get a whole EP out this summer. I might put out one more single before that. And then it'll be a whole EP, which oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I've been working on this project for like the last year, and it's the most me that it could possibly get.
Well, yeah, you write all your own stuff, and you are very, very raw and real, and it's amazing. So I want everyone to go check out your music, especially the song Scars. And my last question that I ask to all the guests is, if there were 3 miracles that you could create in the world today, what would that look like for you?
These are the kinds of things that people should be thinking about all the time. Like, I don't know why. I want to, like, know this.
Well, believe me, when I ask this to every guest, they're like, It's not like they've been thinking about it. So, yeah, you're just
completely.
Yeah, it's a big question.
I might, man, this is so hard, because I was going to say maybe just, like, wipe out social media, like, make it go away, so then people would
connect with people and talk.
Conversations with each other again. But social media can do beautiful things. I think that maybe I would just, the miracle would more so be for people to have more conversations with each other and have something to happen to just give people more empathy about other people's situations and points of view. And the reason that made me think of social media was just because I think it makes it easier for people to you don't have to see somebody else's side if you don't want to. I would want everyone to have the ability, or at least the chance, to see through somebody else's perspective.
Is that what your song's about?
Perspective is kind of about, the song keeps getting more layers the more I sing it and the more I talk about it. I wrote it from a very like basic love song standpoint. Like I was like, well, I don't know a lot about love, but this is what I've learned. And it was that I've learned that love should improve upon your perspective of yourself. It should help you to see that you're whole as an individual, not something that should like bring you down and just see yourself. That was kind of the basis of it. And then it just made me think of like all the different people who have shown me that kind of love in my life, who have changed my perspective on me. And when you see somebody from a different perspective, you see yourself from their perspective and vice versa. It's easier to love, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, we're really all just mirrors of each other.
Exactly. We're all reflecting our own insecurities and love, the things we love and hate about ourselves. We're all just like reflecting it back to each other.
I hate that it works that way, but it does.
I know, it can be so great and so bad. That's kind of the idea of like, you can't fully love somebody else until you love yourself, is kind of the essential idea of that. I would just want global warming to go away. I would want there to be a cure for all diseases, and cancers and deformities and issues. Like there's all those simple things, but then there's so much beauty that comes from the hard parts of life as well. So like, I'm taking this question like so seriously, as though like once I say it, like it's actually going to happen. I'm like, but what are the repercussions really?
No, I think it's great. And Bailey, I'm so grateful for your time today. I am so blessed to know you. I love being a fan of yours. I love watching you share your voice and your story because I know the intention behind your music. And that's to inspire
so much.
And to lift others. And so we're just grateful for all you do for the 10 million kids treated at Children's Miracle Network hospitals. And we're excited to continue to work with you. And I hope you have the most amazing, beautiful day in Nashville.
Dude, you too. Let me say, like you guys have been such a blessing to me ever since like we've come in contact. You've been so like welcoming and supportive, and just to allow me to play even a small role in the awesome things that you're doing. Like, it's so cool. So the love is mutual. Thank you so much for letting me ramble today.
I am so excited for our next guest. She actually is a listener of the podcast, and she emailed me with her own personal story of her life being a miracle. Ava O'Brien on the phone. Ava, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, Ava, you are a miracle. I'm just so grateful that I get to talk to you today. You were born premature in 1995 in San Diego, 2 pounds, 15 ounces, and you were rushed to Rady's Children's Hospital. Tell me what that experience was like for your parents and what you went through, what procedures you went through, and just what happened to you when you were that little tiny baby.
So I was born premature in Oceanside, and my mom, she had a challenging pregnancy, and they had told her, your daughter's going to be born with cystic fibrosis, and my mom was like, okay, when she arrives, we'll kind of figure it out from there. And then I was born, and I was born premature, and they had rushed me to the NICU at Rady Children's, and when I had arrived there, they put a feeding tube down my throat, and the nurse had made a hole in my stomach. So at just 2 days old, I underwent my first emergency surgery, and the doctor had gone in and saw my stomach and said, this girl definitely has cystic fibrosis. There's no doubt about it. She has a lot of issues, and from then on, they ran all these tests, and they had determined that I was born with a congenital heart defect, and I was in need of a co-arc repair of the aorta. But doctors didn't want to do the repair on me because I was only 2 pounds and they had never done a heart surgery on such a small baby. And my parents were like, well, she's not going to make it. Like, you either do the surgery or, we don't know what else to do. And the doctors were like, we're sorry, we can't. And my parents begged and begged. And finally, doctors were like, okay, tomorrow morning we'll perform the surgery. So I went in at 2 pounds, 15 ounces, and I underwent my second surgery rather, and they performed the surgery. Everything went well, and I was in the NICU at Rady Children's Hospital for 3 months. My parents, they call me a miracle baby. I believe I am a miracle. I continue to go back to the cardiologist every year for checkups just to make sure, but the last 24 years, I've been perfect.
I love hearing these stories of miracles because truly that's what our 170 children's hospitals do. They treat 10 million kids each year, and it's stories just like yours. You wouldn't be here today without the life-saving care that you received at Rady Children's Hospital. Tell me how you like to give back to the organization today.
Anytime I see in Children's Miracle Network, at the yogurt shop or Costco, I donate, whether it's $1, $5, $10, because I know that it will make a difference. And I feel that's the only way I really can give back. I was actually honored to be a part of the Rady Children's Month of Giving that's sponsored by Jersey Mike's every year. And last year I was in the commercial, and I finally felt like this is the way that I can give back, to Rady's Children's and kind of be a spokesperson for it, because I really don't know how I can give back. That's my way of saying thank you, because they truly did so much for not only me, but my parents. They helped them every step of the way. They supported them. They told them that it's going to be okay. And they really helped us get through that difficult, challenging time.
And I love what you said. It's about you using your voice, because this story, for someone who listens to it, will help them understand, oh, I get it. I understand what Children's Miracle Network Hospitals does. When I donate to that organization, it helps save kids' lives, kids like Ava. And so I am so grateful for your time today, because you truly are a miracle. And I hope you continue to go out and share your story to everyone you meet, so you can be a voice of hope and inspiration for others who may be going through a challenging time and they may not believe a miracle is possible in their own life. So thank you for reinforcing that miracles are real. You are a walking, talking, breathing miracle. And I really appreciate your time on the podcast today. And good luck to you with everything that you're doing. Thanks so much for your support of Children's Miracle Network Hospitals.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
While you're rounding up supplies for all those spring projects, go ahead and round up your next ACE purchase to help sick and injured kids in your community. When you round up your purchase to the next dollar, your change will be donated to your local Children's Miracle Network Hospital to help kids in your community. Thank you.